And we're back, Stripe Show podcast on a Tuesday. I'm your host, Travis Fulton. Thank you for tuning in. Fun one this week, little team competition, PGA Tour, LPGA Tour. They get together every year in December. They call it the Grand Thornton Invitational. And I know my man's good on Tuesday because he's got 8 PGA Tour wins, and a lot of you have benefited from that. But let me tell you something. He's got 6 LPGA Tour wins as well. So that's 14 combined. There's no one better, folks, I promise you, to break this thing down than our man, Keith Stewart. At Read the Line. How you doing, buddy?
I honestly, based upon that intro, I'm excited for this week because this is like the perfect Read the Line storm. It's the men and women coming together, skill sets on a golf course that you and I both know very, very well. So it's like a major championship, not in the sense of the pressure and all of that. I get it. But like in the fun that I have researching this week, this is definitely as a new event with the men and the women, it's really cool. I'm excited.
I don't feel as confident this week as I've went through these 16 teams. Because I don't follow the LPGA Tour as closely as a PGA Tour, as closely as I know that you do. So I'm going to lean on you a little bit more this week. I mean, I've got some teams that I'm looking at, but I'm going to actually kind of take this week more as maybe someone who's just listening in and going through this process of, okay, I kind of like this team and this team, but I can't quite decide. So what do you think? Right. So I'm going to kind of propose some of those scenarios for you and see if you can steer us the right way. But before we get to that, let's go back to last week real quick. Hero World Challenge, Tiger Woods. What'd you think of the big guy? I mean, to me, the guy is just jacked. I mean, jacked.
The walk-in on Sunday was pretty over the top. That was fun. I mean, everyone's feed just blew up. But let's see. I mean, for me, he checked all the boxes. Number one, he had ball speed, over 170 miles an hour ball speed with the driver. It's great. Number two, a lot of people didn't pick up on this probably just watching golf, but you're a coach, I'm a coach. He was going down on his right leg to pick up his ball out of the hole.
Yeah.
So he was putting all his weight on the bad ankle. It looks stiff when he's walking, but it's fused. It's just like his swing looks stiff because his back is fused. So, and the third thing is that it seemed that he got more and more mentally tough and a little bit better every day. So I know the scores don't necessarily reflect that, but it looked like his shot making skill and everything was a little better every day. Oh, and one more thing. He beat Zalatoris.
Yes, so I owe you. Yes.
So
I remember.
Put that on the whiteboard.
I'm pretty sure everybody beat Zalatoris.
They did.
Yeah,
they did. The broomstick didn't seem like that was the answer, but then again, it is what it is.
Well, I mean, I think he went to the broomstick to get rid of some of the shaking and the tremors, right, in the short putts. But I saw a couple that looked much the same. So I'm not sure it has anything to do with the actual putter itself or the actual style that he's trying to incorporate more than he is trying to maybe perhaps get rid of some of those tremors in the short putting. No, it's there's some questions there for sure for Will. I put up a swing comparison on Instagram showing his old swing before surgery versus the new, and you could see some differences there. I was texting with his coach Josh Gregory, who kind of oversees everything, and they feel optimistic about what's happening there. So I think let's give Will the benefit of the doubt. Obviously, he hasn't played in a while. Let's get the rust off. Let's get some reps, and we'll see what he looks like into next year. But yeah, to your point, Tiger 75, 70. 71, 72. I got to tell you, I don't see anything negative other than the fact that, man, is the dude just too big? I mean, he's walking around like an inside linebacker with those neck muscles and veins popping out. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a golfer more jacked than him right now. And obviously, he's probably going to want to use some of his upper body strength to generate the speed that he's looking for and that he feels like he needs to be competitive. But I think you have to feel really good about what you saw from Tiger and how he sounded, how he was moving, putting pressure on his leg. He wants to play realistically once every month. I mean, are you kidding me? Sign us up. That would be phenomenal if we got Tiger 6, 7, 8 times next year.
I mean, if you got him every month, February through July, just to start with, and then you get him twice in every December, it's a pretty good deal. It's a pretty good deal. I mean,
Absolutely.
I would certainly make him a captain's pick for the President's Cup if you were looking for attendance, but, like, at the end of the day, Tiger's just fascinating, man.
Yeah, he is.
Spending all those years at Isleworth, getting to know him personally, like, he knows that he can't use his ground forces anymore like he used to. So what does
Mhm.
he do? He makes his upper body, like, super strong in order to keep up with the modern swing of the golf. It's just,
Yeah,
the guy is just he's so savvy when it comes to playing golf.
he
There's so
is.
many lessons we could learn from him. It's amazing.
It is.
I'm
Really is.
always just I'm so inspired by him all the time. You can call me corny or Homer or whatever you want, man. But there's only been one guy that's had those 4 flags at once, right?
Yep.
Behind me. There's
Yep.
only one. That's the
Yep.
Tiger Slam. So, the end of the day, you got to respect game. And the guy's figuring it out. I mean,
He puts
it's
up
pretty
one more win, and he'd be the only guy that's got 83 wins in the PGA Tour too. So,
yeah.
and that's that. I'm sure that's on his mind and something that he's looking forward to in the near future. I mean, keep in mind we kind of kick this thing off again on the West Coast swing here in another month. I don't think he's going to be doing that, but look, it's a matter of time before the tour is getting ready to roll back through Florida. Players Championship on the horizon, then the Masters, et cetera, et cetera. So, man, I feel good. That's a good thing for golf. Golf needs it because we know the professional game's in shambles. Speaking of that, when you think of John Rahm, a lot of rumors that it's going to come out this week that he'll be going to Live. I mean, it sounds like right now it's more. I'd be more surprised if he didn't go at this point versus if he did. Where do you land?
The only thing that surprised me at this point is it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah,
And the longer the rumor goes, the more I doubt it. But I would have thought that Liv and Greg would have loved to announce that during Tiger's event. And I said that a week ago.
might have
I'm
been Rahm's doing though. Might have been John say.
that would be respectful of them, sure.
Yeah,
But, some people are like, well, they'd have to make another team and do this. Like, if they're spending 500 million, they'll do whatever. Doesn't
yeah,
matter.
yeah.
They might be like, Poulter, you're done with the cliques or whatever, Majestics or whatever he does, right? Like, it's John Rahm. So, it's pretty
Sounds
much
like he's getting
player of
his
the
own team. Sounds like he's getting his own team. That's what
yeah,
that's
and
that's what it sounds like.
pretty much player of the year.
Yep.
One major and 4 wins is pretty good. All due respect to
Mhm.
Victor, who I love.
Yeah.
You got to give the guy props. So, I was interesting this week to see Xander.
Mhm.
He said he gave out a little
AT&T. Yep.
schedule hint. Yep, you got it. So he's on the tour. Cantley's on the pack, although he doesn't say anything. We always fear when someone doesn't say anything, but when has Cantley ever said anything?
Yeah, right.
Like he's very personal, like Tiger was in his prime. So, at the end of the day, I think the X-Man and Cantley being with TGL and doing all of those things, I think that kind of, I think the Ryder Cup dust storm kind of like got dusted up a little too much there. But the Rahm thing, man, I tell you, and those live bots, they're just living for it right now on Twitter. They just don't stop. Where do these? I love the world of sources.
Yeah.
I would have loved that. Would have been great
Yeah.
for like dating in college.
Right.
You're like, the one girl you wanted to date, she's like, well, who else says that you're a good boyfriend? Well, sources,
It's
you
funny.
know?
I put a poll out on Twitter and I asked the question uh, in more shambles right now. I can't remember how I completely worded it, but in more shambles, professional golf or college football, when it comes down to the end. And it was close.
That's a great question.
It was within, like 55-45. I mean, it was a tight race. I mean, both sides doing very well, getting a lot of votes. Professional golf in shambles of where are we with PGA Tour and Live and how that's going to break down. The last we heard was there's going to be no more poaching. We're working towards an agreement. Well, seems like we're far from that as the deadline is near. And then, of course, the debacle with college football. We won't get into that. That's a whole nother discussion. But yeah, I agree. I think Xander to AT&T is probably a good sign for PGA Tour. Obviously, Cantlay, his little brother, seems to kind of follow him, wherever he goes. So I think Rahm's going to be the big one. I'd be surprised if it doesn't happen. 600 million is the rumor. That's a lot of coin. And where does that set the stage for PGA Tour Live into next year? All right. So in typical golf, kind of, the way things happen with golf, we
But
get all
wait,
the
there's
momentum.
more.
Oh, there's more. There's more.
Yeah.
Like we get, golf in general
Yeah.
struggled for so long, right? And grow the game, grow the game, grow the game. Right. Everything was about that. That was the term that everything was at. We're gonna grow the game.
Yeah.
All these big entities. And well, pro golf, complete shambles. And let's go to the amateur game now. So it's good. Right now, I mean, the golf is thriving right now. Like you probably have a hard time getting a tee time in Florida right
Exploding.
now through the weekend.
Yeah.
And so what are we going to do? Hey, amateur golfer, I'm going to give you a ball you're going to hit it 7 to 11 yards less. Like, how do you think that's going to land for the amateur golfer? Now, most of them are like, whatever, I like golf, whatever. But like, how does that land for most that this rollback, it sounds like is going to happen? It sounds like there's now going to be, the USGA and RNA are going to announce that here soon. Is the rumor that there's going to be a rollback for not only the professional game, but the amateur game in a time where golf, at least in my work lifetime here of 24 years, I've never seen it more popular. I've never seen it bigger. And here we go. Now let's hit it shorter. How do you land with it?
I mean, we could, so obviously my background as a club professional for decades. This is an interesting one. So I there's a myriad of places I can go. I'm just going to touch on a couple quick bullets.
Okay.
First of all, I'm confused with if we're worried about the sustainability of the next 50 plus years of anything. Why are we only rolling it back 5%?
Right.
I mean, if we're gonna fall on this sword, right? Like, what is that? Because I remember the last time we went through all this with the grooves and everything, within 2 years, the manufacturers and the engineers, they had a workaround. And now the ball spins more than it did before the ones that they banned. So that was like, I guess I don't understand what it is it's going to do other than create bad media at this point.
Right.
Which is all it's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's making things very divisive, because now you've got these like Live and PGA Tour discussions, and then, well, where does Rory stand on this, and Tiger versus Live and the ball, and everyone's going to get confused, and confusion like pushes people away. The second thing is that they came out with whatever announcement in April to say like, oh, there's going to be a modified local rule, and they got all this negative feedback, and now they're going to make it universal. So how does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, why don't we just take some time? Maybe take a couple more years and figure this out. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But like, I have a tough time figuring out where like the most popular aspects and the purveyors of the game, and I'll get to them in a second, but like the PGA of America, the PGA Tour said, nah, we're no good with that. The LPGA, no, we're no good with that. We're not using any of this. Like, wouldn't that make you like not pump the brakes, but like pull the e-brake, like slam on the brakes and be like, all right, maybe it's not the ball. Maybe it's something else. Right. I haven't studied this to the level that they have. Maybe my view is more micro than macro, but I'll go to the last one. What does this do to all the middlemen and women at the golf courses or instructors like yourself? Right? There's no one that comes to you. There's only two reasons anyone ever came. I taught the game for over 10,000 hours and still do. Right? And you maybe double that. I don't know. Right? But my point is, no one's ever come to you and said, can I hit the ball shorter? It's really, really hard.
Yeah.
Right? They only came to us for two reasons. Number one, they wanted to be more consistent. Number two, they want to hit it further. That's every single lesson you've ever given, right? And more consistent is hitting it further anyway. So it's really redundant. So, and I'm not hung up on the length thing, but is 5% worth all this negative press for the next 50 years? I mean, what are we doing?
You're reading it right off my notebook. You're reading it right off my notebook. Is it really worth it? 5%. All this negative press, all this pushback, divisive. Is it really worth the 5% to what percent that it actually is being implemented for, right? Which is the 0.0001% of the professional golfers of those handful of courses like an Augusta National, who has the money anyway, to go ahead and lengthen it out. And those that they want to, try to take care of, well, then go pay for it yourself, because this is the situation that we're in, and in the situation that you let us get in, by the way you've governed the game. And it's not just the golf ball, to your point, it's the driver, et cetera. So I agree. And it's just so golf, man. It really is.
It so is.
So
It's
golf. Like we just like
it is.
you can't get out of your own way. I mean, you just can't. And as someone who's, built a studio and trying to grow the game, right? Like I am. I mean, I got people in here who are part of the game and we're taking care of them, but I get the newer golfer in here and we're teaching them how to play. And now we got True Spec set up here in the back and their club fitting. And like, look, we're growing the game right in here and getting people excited. But when you push the ball back, that's a negative, because every person that walks through the door, nobody's overwhelming a golf course here in Ponte Vedra. I just sent a tweet out. How many golf courses, how many people that play at a golf course in the world, amateur players, overwhelm that track with their distance? How many? Like, what's the number? 20? It's just like, I don't see it. You ever want to go through grass? Go back to the back tee on a par 3. Go look at how many people are playing from back there on a course that's only 7,000 yards or whatever. It's absurd, man. It really is. I'm so tired of groups and committees and thinking that they have all the answers and this and that. And I think all we do is oftentimes we just overthink it, and we just get in the way of what is the beauty of athletics and college sports, and a team in a Power 5 going 13-0. And then all of a sudden you're going to penalize them because of an injury? Like, what? That's sports?
Well,
committees just muddy the waters of the purity of athletics and of competition. And then in golf, we're booming. Things are going great. Now, you know what? I think it's time to roll back.
At the end of the day, for me, I mean, forget all, like, it's all about people. So the committee part's a big part of it, but like the men and women that are out at the green grass level, like, are growing this game and doing all the things day after day, that are underemployed, underpaid, overworked. I mean, working dawn to dusk. You have put them in such a precarious position. And I love these people are, oh, Keith, but they're only going to lose like 7 yards or whatever. Like, that's not the point. If that's the case, then why are we even doing it?
Right.
Like, why would we create all this negative press? Because I can guarantee you, like, and I only worked at like middle tier clubs. I didn't work at Augusta National, right? Like, so I did worked at very nice places. Don't get me wrong, but my members would have come in and they would have said, Keith, just buy every Pro V1 you can buy from now until it's shut down, and we'll just keep them here and we'll use them ourselves. Right? I mean, like, this is the level of divisiveness. Golf's a very individual game. There would be a 9-hole lady coming in and she would say, Keith, with that ball, I can't carry the creek on 6. Well, you know what? That's really important to her. And that, like, you're creating a million of those scenarios for 5%.
Yeah.
5%.
And you know what? on the top end, the PGA Tour player, that very small percentage that they're doing this for, right? To protect the sustainability of the game.
Yeah.
Those people are going to figure out how to get that yardage back anyway. Like, they're going to figure out how to get it back anyway. They're going to increase their club head speed, or they're going to do something that they're going to jack themselves up like Tiger to gain that percent back you just took away and create all this divisiveness. I don't know.
Not only that, the people even more driven to do it will be the coaches and the engineers. So the R&D folks that work for TaylorMade and Callaway and PXG and all these different companies that create a golf ball or equipment, they'll find a workaround. The players will find a workaround. And then we would have created all of this for what?
Yep.
Moving right along.
Here we go. Let's go
going forever.
Let's go to Grand Thornton, okay? Because my blood pressure is starting to rise. Grand Thornton Invitational, December 8, 9, and 10. 3 days.
Yeah.
1 PGA Tour, 1 LPGA Tour. Friday is a scramble format. Saturday is alternate shot. And Sunday is a modified best ball. At first look, I was like, this is kind of cheesy. Are they selling mulligan tickets, on Sunday as well? I mean, and you kind of talked me off the ledge and said, no, it's cool because, on Sunday they get to hit their drive, and then they switch and they
Yeah.
hit the other person's drive and they play that ball. And I'm like, all right, okay, that's kind of cool. We get to see some other parts of the game. All right. So that's the format.
Yeah.
Tiburon, I played it a long time ago. I'll be honest, the Gold Course there in Naples, I don't remember a whole lot. Tell my audience a little bit, maybe what we're looking at and kind of maybe the kind of player team that maybe has an advantage.
So, one of the key things this week for me that makes me enjoy this event always being there, and the men's team alone event had been there for a bunch of years. Tiburon's Gold Course is also used for the Tour Championship for the LPGA, the CME Group Tour Championship. So I see it twice a year. The last 3 years I've been handicapping golf tournaments, and obviously prior to that. But having played it as well, it is your typical flat Florida course, Greg Norman design. There's a bunch of bunkers. There's water on like 15 or 16 of the holes, depending on what you feel like where water comes into play. It's your perfect complement of 4 threes, 4 fives, 10 fours. It's the scorecard, par 72. The men are going to play it from, let's see here, 7,300 and almost 7,400 yards. The ladies, almost 6,600. It's about 800 yards difference between the two. You really have there's plenty of place to land the ball off the tee. You have to be a solid approach player here, and you got to be able to putt Bermuda. Those are your two keys that you're really looking for. Now, you can give yourself an advantage off the tee if you're long and extremely straight, but where everyone is supposed to land, even with the driver, is fairly wide. I don't see a real advantage when it comes to odd holes and even holes. The things are pretty well spread. I mean, you could say 3 of the par 3s are on the odd holes, but these are professionals. I think it really what it comes down to is who has good course history and who as a team benefits one another. Because when it comes down to it, they've done a nice job with the format here. A scramble, it's if one person has a strength and another has a strength, they both get to be it's cumulative. With alternate shot, they're going to help each other out. It's not necessarily cumulative, but they might create more of a better team overall if you're a great driver and I'm a great putter, sort of thing, right? And then on the final day, with them flipping, it's almost like you could take some of the worst aspects of my game and your game, and maybe when we flip after we hit the tee shot, then you're going to see some really different types of shots. And over the last 5 years, the average winning score over 3 days is 33 under par. So they're looking for low scores. And the golf course is not difficult for the average touring pro. And I mean, we have some above average players here. We have 11 of the top 30 in the women's side and 11 of the top 50 on the men's side. So they got a nice field.
They do.
But overall,
Absolutely.
the breakdown is Bermuda putting, great approach, birdie or better, baby.
Bermuda putting, great approach.
Yep.
And what was the last one?
A birdie or better.
Birdie or better. Got it.
Percent.
All right. Well, let's just start with the top of the board here, okay? Because I'm gonna give you some thoughts here. So people are gonna look at the top of the board, and they're gonna say, okay, Nelly Korda, the casual better. Nelly Korda, Tony Finau. They're gonna say, well, Finau played pretty good last week. I know Nelly Korda; she's a great player. And then they're at 550. They're the favorite. And then there's Madeline Sagstrom and Aberg. There's our boy Ludwig Aberg.
Hottest player in the world.
And so of those 4 names, the one that maybe we don't know enough about is Sagstrom.
Yeah.
Right. So tell us about her a little bit.
All right. So Madeline Sagstrom, as a player on the LPGA tour, Swedish woman, fantastic. She's good enough to be on like your Solheim international teams. So she's that level of player. She's highly ranked. She is a great driver of the golf ball and a very good putter. Where she lacks or always seems to fall short of winning is in her approach game. She's better than average around the green, but this is not an around the green week. You're playing 54 holes and you want to be 30 under. Chipping is not, I mean, maybe chipping on close to a par 5, but like at the end of the day, you have another partner that's equally as good as you that's world ranked. I mean, we're talking about making birdie putts. This is a very interesting combination in my mind because where she will play from with Ludwig's drives, that will drastically help her approach game.
Her approach game. Yep.
Her approach game, right? And they're both obviously very good putter. She may even be a better putter statistically over the course of this entire past season than he has been this fall. So she's good at scoring. She just tends to make a lot of sloppy bogeys, which in this format, the one thing, if I was going to give an edge between these two teams, and I like that team better than Finau and Korda, is
Oh, you
that
do? Okay.
Sagstrom plays this golf course very, very well. So in 4 straight starts, the worst she's finished is 16th, and that was this year. So like she top 15s this place all the time when you have the best players in the ladies game playing at the end of the year for the most money. So there's something about this golf course that suits her eye.
Mm-hmm.
And again, decent area to land the ball. She probably takes out driver more than she usually does, gets closer to the green. Her approach game numbers go up, and her putter works. So that's probably why you put her with the best driver in the world and the hottest player in the world. Man, I tell you, that's why I favor.
I think I'm leading Aberg, and I think you're convincing me that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have concerns with Tony with the putter. And this is a week where, and he's played there a couple times before. Nellie's been great there over the years. Nellie top 10 there this year, whatever it was, a month ago. Nellie's great everywhere, but she's also with a bulky putter. So, if we just compare apples to apples, team putting, Oberg and Sags are way better than Finau and Korda, hands down.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to make, you got to make like what? 32, 34, 33, 35 birdies and eagles, like subpar scores. I mean, that's a lot. I mean, it's not 72 holes, it's 54 holes. So got to make putts.
All right. So let me set the stage for now these 11 and 12 to ones, because we got a bunch of them.
Oh boy.
Yeah, you got a bunch right here. Charlie Hole, Justin Rose.
Yeah.
Lexi Thompson, Ricky Fowler. Rose Zhang and Sahith Theegala. That's an interesting team.
Yeah.
Celine Boudier, Harris English. And then you've got your Canadian duo, Brooke Henderson and Corey Connors. So of those, what is that, 5 teams between 11 and 12 to 1? Is there a place that your eyes are drawn to right there?
I mean, the first one I jump on there is Justin and Charlie. So Rose and Hull.
Okay.
Right. That's the first one my eyes are drawn to, but then I gotta think about it some more. And the reason I say that is that because this is one place that Charlie Hull has had a lot of success. Tiburon's Gold Course. And Rose led the field in putting last week at the Hero. And he's had a shaky putter this fall. It's been off, it's been on, it's been off, it's been on. I mean, he was fantastic at the Ryder Cup, and he led the field last week. If he's moving along with the putter right now, and they're going to a place where she bombs it, and she's an incredible putter as well. Very similar type of player to Sagstrom. Gets a little sloppy with her irons. Rose is probably one of the best iron players in the field.
Rose Zhang is.
No, Justin Rose.
Justin Rose. Okay.
I'm just talking about Rose. I'm talking about Rose and Hull, right? So
Justin Rose,
good. No, but that's good though for the listeners because
yeah.
there's a lot of roses there. But that's the first team that I jump towards. If you just go pure ball striking and a little nationality, a little emotion there, probably the second team would be Henderson and Connors. I saw Corey at RSM, and he hadn't played all fall, and he was really good. He was really solid ball striking.
He make enough putts though?
No, but Brooke's really good putter.
Okay.
So remember, they're playing scramble. She's going to play from where he strikes it on Sunday. It's pretty good. Brooke's one of the best ball strikers out there on the LPGA tour. I favor Hull and Rose over them because of the putting again. Now, one of the interesting teams there, I'm not big on the Rose Zhang, Sahith Theegala. Now, Sahith and Tom Hoagie won there last year. Sahith, great putter. Rose Zhang, incredible ball striker. They're almost complete opposites.
Yeah, they are.
Right? Okay. So, but I don't know that there's enough between the two of them skill-wise to get to 33 under par.
Is it big enough off the tee for Sahith?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
He's got room.
Rose Zhang stripes it, man.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, she works for the Highway Commission. So,
Yeah.
but she's not strong with the putter. Very weak there. So Tita Green, she's top 10 in the LPGA, and she was in college, much like Oberg back in the spring, right? So
Yeah.
she's already won on tour, but the putter is really let her down. Whereas Sahith, it's the complete opposite. I just think that in this event, if the skill set is it's too dependent on one thing from the other player, I I have a tough time getting like, will they shoot 25 under? Sure, because they're both like world class, but like, are they going to shoot 33 under? I don't know if they'll make enough putts, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And the one team in that range, Thompson Fowler, not been a great year for Lexi Thompson. That's been well documented. Ricky Fowler's been in a slump all fall. Don't quite see where that's going to go other than a
Yeah. I
lot
don't
of
like
Puma
that team.
marketing materials,
I
right?
don't like. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I would grab a bunch of head-to-heads, either in tournament or prior, against them on any board that I could, you know. But the one team that's interesting there is Harris English has won this event 3 times with Matt Kuchar. He obviously loves this golf course.
Mm-hmm.
Celine Boutier was runner-up to Player of the Year and won 4 times this year. She has a good course history here. She's got 4 straight top 20s. So, great approach player. They're both a little weak off the tee, which is why I favored those other 2 teams first, the Canadians and then the English team. So Charlie Hall and Justin Rose are both from England. But Harris English has won there 3 times in the last 10 years with Matt Kuchar, making a ton of putts. Celine, great putter. They're just kind of both a little shaky off the tee. But obviously Harris does well there, even though he's shaky off the tee because there's some wide landing areas. That could be a sleeper team there in that middle range. But
Interesting.
if you're asking me to push a button on somebody, it's either the Canadians or the Union Jack there, the English team in that range. Now, keep in mind, if you're gonna bet multiple outrights, just pay attention to what you're doing. Over the last 10 years, the average pre-tournament odds of the winner has been 10 to 1 or plus 1,000. So it is these teams that are 8 to 7 to 10
Mm-hmm.
to 11 to 12 to 1 that are winning. There's only one team I think that was 2,000 to plus 2,000 over the last 10 years that won. Right? So like just it's going to come out of these teams that we've already talked about
Okay.
pretty much,
All right.
right? And you just so
Because
complimentary.
You got Jay Day, Lydia Ko at 14. You got Angel Yin and who is that? Nick Taylor at 14. You're not
No,
going to stretch
It's Roning Yin and Nick
Ronin Yin.
Taylor. Now Roning
Ronin,
Yin,
Ronin Yin. Okay.
she won the KPMG Women's at Baltusrol. Fantastic ball striker. I actually predicted her to win that final week at the CME. She finished 6th. I'm not sure if Nick Taylor is quite the level of ball striker to keep up with if Justin Rose is warm or if Ludwig is warm.
Yeah.
You know, or Corey Connors is warm. That's where I'm falling off there. But Roning Yin is a good enough ball striker to keep up with Corey Connors. You better believe it. From her set
So
of tees, for
tell me
sure.
about this name. So Denny McCarthy, I've been kind of big on him, and we know that we got to
Yep.
make some putts. So his partner's Megan Kang, right?
Megan Kang could drive it through
What's she
a
like?
needle. So
Okay.
Megan Kang, first time winner, won the Canadian 40 to 1. We had her read the line. Unbelievable. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Took down Jin Young Ko in a playoff, who is ranked 3rd in the world at the time. Ball strikers golf course. Megan Kang really struggles with the putter. Like Scotty Scheffler in midseason this year struggles with the putter. So again, it's almost like the way that she strikes it with McCarthy's putter in a perfect storm.
Yep.
Yeah. The way
Could be.
Rozang strikes it. But like at some point, they're going to need to rely on Denny off the tee, an alternate shot. Or at some point, Megan Kang's not going to hit every shot perfect. Right. And I don't know. I mean, again, it's like all these teams are going to be good. You have to find a reason why, folks, and stick to your guns and say, like, this is why I'm going with this team. And,
It's a lot to think about here. There's a lot. It's a lot to think about.
Oh, it's so much fun. I mean,
I
McCarthy
mean,
played with Nelly Korda last year, and they played very well. So McCarthy you could say, oh, he has an edge because he's played already in a mixed team event on that golf course.
yeah.
So he's got a little bit more of, let's say, experience. But I think at the end of the day, for these golfers, it's just I'm 152. The wind is this, the elevation is this, the pin is this. Here's where I miss it, and then I hit it. Like they could do that on the moon. It's so. I'm not super high because Megan Kang can't make 30 birdies. Not in team format.
Well, that's not what I
You
wanted
know?
to hear. That's not what I wanted to hear.
No.
Um,
No.
Straight driver, but can't putt. God, if she could putt at all with
Yeah.
McCarthy, that'd be interesting, you know?
I mean, Nick
That
Taylor's
would
a
be
pretty
really
good putter.
interesting.
He had 2 top 20s this fall, and Roning Yin is the best ball striker on the ladies' side in that field. So, like, if you're looking for a sleeper in the middle there, I'm
14.
definitely gonna top 5 them.
Okay.
Roning Yin and Nick Taylor for sure. To win, no, but I think you could get some. You probably get 2-1 there.
So the 16-1, Leona McGuire, Lucas Glover, that's kind of a fun team. That's a cool team. I like Glover. He's cool. One of the nicest
Yeah.
guys out there. McGuire, we saw Solheim Cup. I mean, she's tough as nails.
Yeah.
Can they, Glover improved his putting this year, had a great season. I don't know, I'm kind of drawn to that team for some reason. I don't know if I'll bet it, but
Here's the question, right?
there they are at 16-1.
Leona McGuire, great fit there. Very good course history. She was runner-up a year ago to Lydia Ko in the CME Group Tour Championship. Lucas Glover wasn't great at the Hero with his putter. I mean,
Mhm.
again, you have to make so many
Yeah,
putts.
that's just
That's the
it.
thing. That's
Yeah.
the thing. At the end of the day, I'm going to get a little bit redundant in all of this, but like
That's why I
you
was
really
surprised when you
need.
said Connors then. That's why I was a little surprised with Connors.
Well, I think Corey's had some success there
Yeah.
playing in this event. He's played in it 3 times. He's always finished in the top 8. So, I think having a partner and knowing that maybe there's a partner behind you that's going to putt, I would think
Yep.
Brooke would putt behind him because she's a better putter.
Mhm.
So when they're scrambling or, when they have that opportunity to help, Corey see the line and then kind of hit it, maybe for sure.
So what
Yeah.
about the bottom 5 there, or the bottom 5 in the odds? Is there a fighting top 5 chance anywhere? You've got what is that? That's Lilia Vu, right? And Joel Damon,
Yep.
Mel Reed, and Henley,
Neither
Cheyenne
which has,
Knight,
neither of which have played
Tom
there.
Hoagie. They've never been there.
They've never been there. Andrea Lee, Billy Horschel. Horschel's played there a bunch.
Andrew Lee.
Andrea
Yep.
Lee's had a tough season.
They're at
Um,
28.
yep. You've got Allison Corpus, Cam Champ. Cam Champ's length is an advantage. Her putter, I don't know. I mean, their odds fall where they are.
Yeah.
At the bottom there,
McGuire
Cheyenne Knight.
Glover. That'd be as far as I'd go.
I mean, Lilia Vu, who was the player of the year on the LPGA tour, right? Extremely solid ball striker, not necessarily long, but a very good putter. And
Mhm.
Joel Damon needs to putt better, but he's a good ball striker.
Yep.
Could be a very complementary team. They could be additive in many ways when they start to play together. But that's probably as far as I'd go. Cheyenne Knight won the other women's team event. Like how the men have the Zurich.
Yep.
The women have one called the Dow Great Lakes. Cheyenne Knight won it. She's come in like the top 3 before, so she's a good team player for some reason. Tom Hoagie won here last year, but I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of firepower in that, like what you said, like that 1100 to
11 to 12.
plus
Lots of
1100 to plus
yeah.
1200. I mean,
So
a top.
if I'm hearing you right,
Yeah, go.
if I'm hearing you right, you're kind of leaning Aberg Segstrom up top there. You've got some interest in the Canadians, Connors and Henderson. I think the one that maybe surprised me the most is English and Boudier.
Yep.
And then maybe a sprinkle, maybe on Taylor and Yin. Maybe.
I would say
those are some leans, some interest of 4 of the 16 teams.
when I read the line, and this is 16 teams of the best players in the world.
Right.
Right. So you again, you have to come up with a strategy you think will work and you have to make decisions. But between and I'll go with the ladies' names because people will be more likely to remember them, right? I'm going to go
Mhm.
with the Sagstrom team, the Hull team, the Henderson team, and that Boudier team. Somewhere in there, I'm going to pick 2 teams and run with them. I'm telling
Yeah.
you right now, like because
Okay.
the I bet 3 of those teams finish in the top 5.
Okay.
I mean that they're that good. Could Nelly and Tony get hot with the putter? Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, anything can happen. But I mean, what's the likelihood that Scotty wins last week, right? If his putter
Right.
gets hot versus, Tony winning with Nelly this week if their putters get hot. I mean, it's just Scotty's far and ahead, and that they're, you know, honestly, Ludwig is the best player in the world right now.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. I mean, that
I
dude
like to
can
see him
just,
play Scotty.
yeah. That's
So
a guy. Last time we saw Ludwig, he shot 61 on the weekend. So that's kind of what we're up against.
I was standing there.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like,
Kind of what
I
we're
was
up
literally
against here.
I was down there with you. I mean, I was there,
Yeah.
like, what are we watching? I mean, it was like a video game. It was like Golden Tee. It was
You brought up
ridiculous.
an interesting point with Scheffler and his putting, who I kind of commented, made a lot of posts about, and his changes with Phil Kenyon, and who also works with Justin Rose, who's in the field. But some wholesale changes there for sure. He looks different, and I give him a lot of credit for making those changes because, we'll kind of transition with this as we signing off on the
Sure.
year, right, of 2023, the calendar year at least, as it's a wraparound season in the next. But I can't help but think, given the performance and the statistics of Scheffler from tee to green, that if that dude keeps his head above water in strokes gained putting, how many times he's going to win? I mean, it is. We're talking 7-8 times. If he can keep his head, +1, +2 strokes gained putting. If he goes berserk with putting, he'll win by 7. I mean, his ball striking is that good. So I just came away from that tournament last week thinking, wow, what if? I mean, what if this guy becomes that good with the flat stick? He is going to be dominant, and he is going to be winning 7-8 times into 2024. Is that overstated?
I'm extremely impressed with one thing about Scotty Scheffler, and that is whatever changes he started, he implemented them at the Ryder
Yeah.
Cup, and he stuck to them.
Yeah. Yeah,
Now,
exactly.
somebody may say that it caused him to get emotional or whatever, but you know what kind of resolve it? I mean, you do. I mean, you've seen great players and everything go through this yourself in your own game, but like, you know what kind of resolve it takes in that arena to stick to what Phil Kenyon's telling him to do and then go do it?
Mhm.
And then, yeah, he's obviously been practicing that and it looks a lot better and he's making the right changes and everything. But I, I was on site for 22 tour events last year. You know what I mean? I saw that guy all the time and I couldn't believe like he hadn't broken 10 putters. I mean, he should have won at least 7 times.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
to see him go through that at the Ryder Cup and then come out on the backside of that a couple months later and then just go win the Hero in a walk away, right? No one threatened
Yeah.
him all weekend. That was like the way he won the Masters 2 years ago.
Yep.
It was like on Thursday, his first 9 holes, he was like 1 over or something, and everybody was like, "Yeah, but it looks all right. Yeah, I think it looks all right." But he
He's
three-putt the
that
last
dominant.
hole.
He's that
Oh,
dominant. Tee to green. I mean, he's that dominant. So
yeah.
just how good can Scotty Scheffler be? How good can he be? How many times can he win if that putter is not a liability? If that putter is somewhat of a strength? If that putter levels out with some sort of consistency and he gains confidence? I mean, what are we
Yeah.
talking about, and how many wins? Can he be a player that exceeds a Dustin Johnson in wins and in major championships? I mean, I think to me that's the kind of discussion that's where I go when I see that putter start to wake up, because we looked at it tee to green last week, remember, on his stats. I mean, it was first,
Yeah.
fifth, first, second,
Yeah.
and then his putting was 161. And so it's like,
Yeah.
oh my God, how good is this guy from tee to green? It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that's the thing that kind of takes me in the next year, is just how can Scotty Scheffler be dominant, and of course all this other hoopla that we got to get through in the professional game, and the rollback, and what's next, official world golf rankings. Oh yeah, those are obsolete now. Those we don't even need those. Those are irrelevant. Anything else
Well, I
out
mean,
there
there's
that
other
we can just
sports that
throw into
don't
the
go by
bonfire?
rankings.
Huh?
I said there's other sports that don't go by rankings.
Yeah, right. We need a
But we won't
committee.
go there.
That's what we
Hey,
need. We need a committee to decide who's capable of winning and who isn't.
you know, we're at that time of year. I mean, this is our last event of the year that we'll get to do this. We'll be back soon, but
Yep,
um,
first of the year.
whatever happens with Rom happens with Rom,
Yeah.
right? But still, if Scotty's even remotely decent with the putter, Victor obviously took his career next level. Rory's removing distractions,
Yes.
right?
Good point.
There's an opportunity there. Then there's also, it's been proven every year that there's guys that are in the top 10 right now are going to fall out, and there's other ones that are going to come up we don't know, like Wyndham Clark and Brian Harmon, right? Those were our 2023 guys. So, like, who are those next people going to be? The year before was like Matt Fitzpatrick and, Cam Smith. And, like, we get some really good stories out of all of that. The majors are going to be so enormous at this point because we obviously haven't changed anything about where we stood this year when it comes to everybody getting along. So, I mean, obviously it's easy for me to get excited about these things, but, like, man, I just can't wait. Couple different new events, schedules moved around a little bit. Yeah, we lost the match play, but
You know who's going to have a hard time through the offseason looking at the world ranking is going to be Justin Thomas.
Man.
Justin Thomas is at 26. He's going to have a hard time staring at that in the season that he had, and so I think there's going to be a little bit of a resurgence of JT next year that I'm excited about. And I think, in addition to that, just talking about Scheffler, I think you make a great point about a clear mind with Rory. I'm very excited about that too, because Rory is a guy that's going to make a run at Scheffler, and he's at number 2 right now. But Rory is like, okay, let me show these people what I can do. Not one last time, but he needs to win a major to get back in there. And then he's got the young gun hobbling on his heels, who's coming. And Max Homa's coming, folks. Max Homa is coming. He is number 7, and you better be damn straight that he knows that winning a major championship is next for him, and he hasn't been that competitive. And so, I can he continue to climb the ladder as Victor has now at number 4, the best he's been, and go catch one of these top 2 guys in Scheffler and Rory. And then, of course, Rahm, if he joins Liv, will snowball down those official World Golf rankings because he won't be getting them. But anyway, Keith.
All right, now, hey, real quick, just along those lines, because I'm excited for 2024. So, first name, I can't do this because I'm the one asking the question. So people would assume I'd have thought about it already. First name that pops into your head when I say a tournament name that's going to win it in 2024. First name that pops into your head. Not holding you to it, but like your guttural reaction for Masters.
For the Masters?
Yep.
Scotty.
The PGA at Valhalla in Kentucky.
Victor.
U.S. Open, Pinehurst number 2.
Oof.
Who is it?
I'm going Rory.
Okay. All right, last one. Royal Troon, Open Championship. Who you got?
Fleetwood.
Scotty, Victor, Rory, Tommy Fleetwood. Folks, we have 30 days till the century. Mark it down. 4 weeks from Thursday. 4 weeks from Thursday, we're back. Enjoy it all.
Hey, you're the man, buddy. I can't thank you enough. Fantastic. We're going to be back again next year. We got some fun stuff planned. But go to Read the Line. You need to subscribe. You need to be a part of his nation next year, because no one's winning more. PGA Tour, as I mentioned, LPGA Tour. Thank you for everything, Keith. Happy holidays to you, buddy.
Same to you and your family, and to everyone. Nothing better, even for Christmas, than being on a Stripe show.
Yeah. Love it.